How did you first kind of know about spoken word, get into spoken word and poetry?
It was all I was writing on my own in my bedroom. And for years I was doing that. And I have, the Poets Library, which is just my notes app, which was, you could scroll and scroll and scroll for hours through that thing. And I was just doing nothing with it, and graduated and moved to, I'm from London, but moved back to London after uni, and just did nothing and was like absolutely sat on my bum, missed all of the grants for 18 to 25-year-olds, and have now realised that I really like spoken word. But it was really more of an accident. I was sort of, like I said, I got given a Rupi Kaur book. Someone's like, you're into poetry, aren't you? And so I followed her on Instagram, and I saw her performing the words, and that's how I came into it, which is so just completely by accident. Of course she's very popular, but I don't think I would have really stumbled across her back then. And it's her performing with this like beautiful rhythm and music in her voice, and I was just like really moved by it. And then from there I sort of again sat on it for a while, and finally I entered into a roundhouse thing to be in. It was the last year I could have gone. I was turning 26 and I was going to join I wanted to be a part of it all. Yeah. And it was all written poetry, and they were like, do you have any videos of you performing any of this? I was like, no, surely this is good enough. You not just take my word for it, I'm very funny. And that sort of was like sparked the whole journey. And I went to the first, That's What She Said was my first open mic that I went to. And by some like mad stroke of luck, I was put on the feature list. I don't know how, because it was literally the first time I've ever done it. But I think there was some wonderful, glorious universe miscommunication that meant that the guy, Paul, put me on for a feature. And all of my friends in the crowd were like, are you featuring here? And I was like, yes. Just fake it till you make it, baby. So yeah, that was like a 10-minute slot that was really, really nice. And that was, I think from there, it just haven't stopped.
Well, now then going to more of the overarching themes then, what even is spoken word to you?
Oh, God.
Yeah, fun questions.
Okay, Tyrone. I guess I'll have a think. What is spoken word to me? I guess it's just expression and like this beautiful, it's all of the good stuff that I like from entertainment, which is like storytelling, lyricism, performance, music and like just this a complete self-expression, and I love it very, very dearly. I think mostly for me, it's the opportunity to be a big fat show off.
I feel that.
Yeah,
that's with that whole showing off side of it, then where do you feel best showing off your work? Because obviously you've got spoken word, but you've mentioned page poetry in a bit as well. So like you've got writing stuff down, you've also got, like with mentioning with P-Core, you've got the Instagram side of poetry, etc. You've got so many different places now where poetry can be. Where do you like your poetry going? Where would you want it to go?
I really would like to do some published work. I love performing it, but I think having a thing in my hands would be like quite a special and magical thing. So yeah, I'm trying to sort of so it turns out I was looking at the submissions that have opened for Verve, and they have said, like submit your pamphlets and books. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna just submit. Why not? Why not just live your life? And they were like, so you get 28 lines to a page, and it's 29 pages. Lo and behold, all of my 5-minute poems are like 8 pages long, Tyrone. They're not going in a book. They're not book approps. No one wants to read my 8-page ballad. They want to see it performed, maybe, like, if they're in the mood. But so I think I've got to maybe reevaluate. I do have short poems too, and I'm being silly, but like, I think I've got to really think about there is a difference between the two, and there is that sort of, it's a completely different skill that I don't really have, that I'm just sort of going, yeah, I've got that. And actually, no, do I? So yeah, but I would really like to get it into a book. I think that's my big, like, my next goal.
Like, well, on the line, goal-wise, like, it's book, what else would there be? Are there any other goals, or is it just book and then figure out from there?
Yeah, no, the book is obviously a big deal for me in my mind's eye. But I think I'm looking at starting up a night with Henry Beckwith and A's, who are two wonderful poets as well. And so Henry runs a podcast, which Tyrone, you have been on, and he asked me, I've been on it too, and he asked me to basically sort of, like get a night started off the back of it, but like a completely collaborative effort. So I've been putting a bit of energy into that and thinking about what that might look like. And I think, once we're all set free from our homes, there'll be a lot of appetite for live poetry and, like joie de vivre of everyone wanting to rush out of their house and do loads of stuff. And I think that's a perfect time to capture what Word Spoken is doing, which is built like this amazing podcast and now make a night of it as well. And it also takes the pressure off, because if I'm hosting, I've not got the complete like bullets of sweat pre-performance, like anxiety. I can just enjoy other people's poetry.
For you, especially as this is during the whole lockdown side of things, how are you finding the whole online poetry life, the Insta live poetry, the Zoom poetry nights? What are they for you?
They're interesting. I think there's a lot to be said for them, and they can be really positive experiences. And I think some people have done really, really amazing things with them. I really miss live poetry. So as much as there's, I think, a place for it, and I love it, and I love like hopping across the ocean and seeing a poet from New York, and then like I've seen Russian poets that I obviously just wouldn't, I'm not going to an open mic in Moscow anytime soon, so that has been really pleasant. But yeah, I think, but personally, that electricity of a live poetry night is just like all of the dopamine, all of the serotonin. I just absolutely love it. So yeah, as much as I love them, and I do really love them, and I get involved and I join in, I think I can't wait to get back to a cold pint in the hand, a microphone, and a room full of people, and it being great fun.
Well, thinking back to a different time, a simpler time, then what did you look for in a poetry night? Like, what about a poetry night would get you to go there? Is it the host? Is it the area? Is it the poets that are going to be there? What brought you to a night?
I love open mic nights that don't take themselves too seriously, and I like open mic nights where everybody is able to have a chat and enjoy each other's company and make those connections. I think that's been a massive thing for me, is like all of these lovely people that I've met, and having the opportunity to speak and say hi after, or say, I really love this piece of work that you just performed and blah blah. I like that in a poetry night. And I like warmth. I think that's the thing that I really gravitate to, is like the host, for example, coming up to you and being like, hey, this is so lovely to see you, how are you doing? Or not saying that that's the host's duty, because they've been there all night, but just that sense of warmness I really appreciate in a spoken word night.
And then going a little bit beyond that, then like what do you look for in a poem? Like when you're hearing a poem, reading a poem, what is it about a poem that's like, this is one I like this poem?
Oh, that's so hard, because you could look at two poems that I adore and be like, this can't be the same person that likes these. But I think I like a poem who it feels almost like it was, I already had it in me, like I'd already written it somewhere in the back of my mind and forgotten it, and it's like a reminder, like it's reminding me of something that I already knew. That's a poem that I think makes me feel really like, I don't know, when you get that tingle of like, that is exactly what that feels like, or that is exactly that moment, or like it's that gut punch, but it's always there and you always knew it, and that's why it resonates. I think if that's a good enough answer, I think that's what I look for in a poem.
That definitely works as an answer there. And like, going on both of these then, considering obviously the like for poetry, just in general, this partly my own general wonderment, but partly as a thing, like as someone who performs a lot of open mics and poetry slams, etc., how often do you go to poetry, like to just be in the audience, or is it also going to perform as well? What do you like going back to being an audience, or is like, cool, this audience is cool, but I want to share my stuff as well?
At the beginning, I was like, so is it I think it's that like I was so excited and really enjoying it and was always wanting to share. And as I move it through it a little bit more, I think I really do enjoy being a part of the audience and taking that step back. It's not that, it's almost like I sound contrived, because I do end up on the mic a lot of the time. And I'm not saying I'm a bad person, it just happens that way. No, obviously that's ridiculous, and I do really, really enjoy hearing other people's work. I think that's the best way to get inspired. Like if I feel like I've got no beans and nothing in the can, and I can't write at all, the best medicine, of course, as everybody says, is hearing and reading and seeing other people's work. So I find it so helpful and so powerful. Yeah, I love it.
Cool. Then, as we get to the end of the kind of little interview part of it, then, so what would you, if anything, like, what would, is anything missing in Poetry Nights? What have you not seen? What do you want more of in Poetry Nights, if anything?
That's really interesting. I think that we're really, really lucky in London to have so many different versions and formats and exciting things like that. I think I like the idea of like a poetry event trying to push into new territory. So for example, like, you know, I'm going to talk about word spoken again, but like having a podcast format and like that sort of like accessibility and that new element, I think. And I think it was you that said, I've already quoted you on this, but you said, what are you doing with your poetry and blah. I love that, because like, yes, of course our poetry is really powerful, but like, what have you done? How are you moving forward with this? What are you doing with this? And I think it's exciting to try and challenge that. So yeah, I'd like to see open mic nights that are sort of pushing people into more opportunities.
Cool. And then to kind of end this kind of interview, inside your thoughts and stuff, etc., just in general then, who is Billie the poet? What do you want people to get from you as a poet? Who are you?
Who am I? Oh my God.
Who are you?
Is any of this real? I'm fun, and I hope, and funny, and I'm the lovable rogue that you knew in school that was always too loud and always getting sent out of the class. But I hopefully also am very nice. I hope, oh God, this is a terrible question for me to answer. I'm being like, I'm out on the cross. I hope I feel relatable and warm and approachable, and that my poetry is the same, and that, you know, it is accessible and comfy, I hope.
Comfy is a brilliant way to describe poetry and the poets.